This is threading for chain stitch or cover stitch. In this case, I'm only going to demo the chain stitch, and I'm going to use chain needle 2, which is the middle. On the back of your machine, you've got this little thread guide scenario here. Here's how this works. There are 3 slots, so 1, 2, and 3. Here I've got my thread. I want the second slot, so I'm going to put it through here, and then I'm kind of holding both ends, and then just push it to the right gently, and you'll hear it kind of click in, and then it will fit up through here. I'm going to do that again and not talk so you can kind of hear it. Did you hear that click in? And then it will just go down this threading path. Let me reposition here. Then it's going to go to the left of this, and then around and up this guy. And I find if I hold my thread back here, you want to make sure that it actually, this is what you actually want to make sure it doesn't do. So when it's in here, if you hold this and then bring it over and up and around, it will hit all of the tension discs that it's supposed to. And you should feel a little bit of tension on that when you're pulling it through. And then again, you're going to move your needles to the front needles. And when you're doing chain and cover, you will want to use the EL705 needle. It has a scarf on the front and the back, which will help to form a better stitch. I've changed my needle and I've put it into C2, which is the middle. Let's move over to this side. Your chain looper is this whole scenario. As a general rule, when you thread, you have your presser foot up. And this is going to seem kind of strange. So I've just gone up through my telescope guy. So this is going to go from the front to the back. Let's see if I can get my hands out of the way. So front to the back here. Now, as strange as this seems, I find it easier to close this or put my foot down so that I can get around this. So this is going to go front to the back, behind this, and then just up and over this. So once I get to here, I lift this up again. And then there's a little hook that this is going to go through. And then it's going to go into here, into your chain looper. Here's the side view, and this will make a little bit more sense. I have my spool of thread here. It's going up over my guide. From here, it'll go through here, from the front to the back, and then around this little guy here. And then it's just going to go up and over this path here, and then into the hook in the front. And this is where I like to keep my foot levered down, because if it's up here, you have trouble getting around all of this. So once I get around to the front, I will raise that. And then there's a little hook that this is going to go through. Other adjustment that you need to make, well, there's a couple of adjustments, I guess I should say. All of this would be cleared and you would change your needle out. So I'm just going to clear all of that. This would thread through here just like normal. You also want to move your upper looper down. I'm going to switch this and I'm going to crank until it kind of jumps, and that will now stay down. You also need to change your table. So just push down, release that, and then position this, and it just snaps in place. And it's flush here. This thread's just like normal. And then I'm going to open up this side, And I'm going to thread this. And the thread should come through into this little tray. Right here. So I'm just going to leave that there. And close all this. And put my foot back on. Oh, whoops. So one thing different about doing chain or cover, I thread my needle thread through this hole. When you're just doing a regular serge 3-thread, this isn't closed, but here it is closed. I like to keep my thread on the bottom. And then, as always, we're going to do a little test stitch. And I've got my 12-weight thread in the bottom. I am going to do this with my fabric side face down because it's the chain stitch that I want to use as the decorative. And here, you can refer to your book, and sometimes you need to just play. I have my tension here. This is a fairly lightweight thread, so I have my tension at about 3.5. And on my chain looper, I have this pretty much at 0. Okay, let's just stitch a little bit and see what happens here. On the front side, it's just going to look like a straight stitch. So I'll stitch a little so that you can see, and then I'll bring this forward. So here you can see this is what I'm using as the decorative, the chain stitch. And with this weight thread, that is about what you would expect to see. Now, here's some tips for keeping things from unraveling, because it is in fact a chain stitch. When you get to the end, raise your needle to the highest position, lift your presser foot. I like to use just my little screwdriver, sweep it under the thread, and then I just clip that thread, and then just gently pull straight back. You may have to release your looper, but it will bring the threads to where they need to be, and then you can just trim that off. And here's an example of different tensions. So this is where I started, and I had a tighter tension on my needle, and then I loosened it, and you can see what happens here. My chain looper was pretty much at 0 the entire time. Here, I think that really what needs to happen is I need to tighten that up again, my needle. So I'm going to move this to 3. Let's run that again and see what happens. Better. You can just clip this. You don't have to do it in half. And then again, I'm releasing manually some thread off of my chain looper because this one is pretty tight. So that looks nice as a decorative. Not too sturdy as an actual stitch, but for a decorative stitch, it's great. So this is at 3, and this again is the 8-weight Wonder Fill Razzle, and my tension on my looper is, or on my chain, is at 0.